Well, hi guys. Hi guys.
Hello.
We didn't catch up last week. We had the Jesse Marsh interview, which a lot of people really enjoyed, and here we are recording on Monday in Thanksgiving week. Theo, what do you know about Thanksgiving? Go.
It's a lot of food, right?
Of course.
Do you know what it's about, though, Theo?
You tell me. Well, I do, but you could just enlighten me a bit more.
Oh, we'll enlighten the American audience, shall we? Yeah. Taylor, explain it to Theo, please.
Oh, I love that. Good. 2 Brits just handed to me. It is a day about giving thanks for the life that we have from the ancestors that predicated many of us on this beautiful land that is called the United States of America.
Absolutely.
There
It's
we go.
That's the most 2025 answer I could have given on that.
Yeah, that is a good answer. It does. I'm not going to lie. It does, for a British person, Theo, it does feel very Christmassy because the whole country comes to a stop. In fact, I think it comes to a stop more during Thanksgiving.
It does.
Than it does during
100%.
Christmas. Yeah, because everybody celebrates Thanksgiving, and it's incredibly calm. Well, I think the whole country gets very calm, which is needed sometimes. And like you say, eats a lot of food, and it is absolutely joyous. And then traveling on Black Friday is also brilliant because everyone is still either hungover, full up. Taylor, right? When you get on a plane, no one's traveling, so that's a joy. So Taylor and I both have to.
Taylor's not on the plane. He's too busy recovering. He's one of those.
You've got a big weekend coming up, actually, Taylor. We're going to get to that
Taylor.
in a second. But before we get to that, we got to talk about what happened in the Premier League this past weekend. They went to Arsenal thinking they were Telford, not Tottenham Hotspur. They were too scared, weren't they?
No Gyökeres, no Odegaard, no Gabriel. No problem.
I'm not sure how you leave him out the team.
They had no pre-season. That's his fault. That's his fault. Simple as that. He's not been pushed, Isak, I don't think, ever. Liverpool, I've made an error.
You don't want to go up against the NFL or college football. It dominates. We got to get out of playing the biggest games in December and January. It's a great move.
We're going to hit some of the big storylines, boys. Theo, I'm going to start with you. Many people saw your Instagram post wearing the Eze shirt. Arsenal goes 6 points clear, beating Tottenham. As a former Arsenal player, does it still... I mean, we heard Thierry Henry, people might have seen the clip on Sky Sports, say how I don't like Tottenham and Tottenham don't like me, and that's just fine. Do you still have that rankling like Thierry Henry does when you watch the North London derby?
Absolutely, yes. And I think it's great as well when you have different cultures of who come and have that feeling as well. And I think that's set in stone at Arsenal Football Club. That's what you've got to create if you want to be an Arsenal player, to create memories. I think that's what it is, a memory. And every time, it's the most important fixture for me, and it always has been. And it's always the fixture which I just loved playing. I loved it, even away. Just knowing the abuse I get, but knowing the abuse I could give back in my football ability. That was, it kind of worked both ways. And, it's the famous 2-0 thing that people love from my time, but I look at it very differently, thinking, I actually scored a lot of goals against Tottenham and I enjoyed some moments and some good performances. However, for a fan, that memory was me just having a bit of banter on a stretcher when I did my ACL, which I wasn't aware of at the time. That's a memory for them and a memory which will live on. Which is great. My knee didn't feel great, but still. But yeah, no, I just thought, yes, every time this fixture, it just, the Arsenal shirt's on. I don't normally wear Arsenal shirts too often, and I just felt... today's the day because it's so important for me.
What's the first thing you think about? Sorry, Rebecca. What's the first thing you think about of your career against Tottenham? First thing.
Yeah, it's the 2-0.
It's the 2-0.
It's the 2-0. It's the 2-0. Yes.
Theo, think about that, though. The goals you scored, the games you had, think about that.
I know.
That's a rivalry. That's where that's it. Rebecca, it's so hard to measure that. It's so hard to measure that. And when I saw that clip from Thierry Henry, it resonated with me because everyone has their own rivalries, whatever it is. But when it's integrated within your town, your community, and the passion, there's nothing like it because you're playing for something bigger than yourself. It's awesome. And by the way, Arsenal were awesome.
Well,
Yes.
they were awesome. And Taylor, I wonder how the Arsenal players felt. I mean, not that they particularly were that focused on who Tottenham were lining up with and how their system was. But Thomas Frank did decide to go with 5 at the back or 3 at the back and didn't go to the Emirates to do anything really at all. Those Arsenal players, seeing that lineup, I mean, they must have been licking their lips because Tottenham did not come to play.
Also, though, you play 5 in the back and you give up 4?
Well, he
You know what I
changed
mean?
at half
So,
time, didn't he? And what was it at half time? Was it 2? It was 2-0 at half
2,
time, and then
but
he
you
changed.
see-
And he
you
did
see
say
what I'm saying?
afterwards, yeah, I know. But why did they do it in the first place? It was like, I read somebody said it was like they went to Arsenal thinking they were Telford, not Tottenham Hotspur. They were too scared, weren't they?
You guys have heard me say this now a couple times on this podcast. Scared money doesn't make money. And listen, playing 5 in the back doesn't mean you're scared if you have a cohesion and a style of play and understanding that we're going to counter, we're going to be vertical, we're going to do all these things off the ball. But if you play 5 in the back the way Thomas Frank and Tottenham have, the fact that they've got their 3rd defeat in their last 5 games, you look at their October-November schedule. Now, we talked about them early on. Thomas Frank was kind of like Cinderella at the ball. You know what I'm saying? Like all of a sudden everything's good. Then Theo, I'm going to tip your cap here because you brought up the schedule coming up saying, hang on a minute. I want to see the meat of their schedule and how they play. They haven't had a good result against any of the bigger clubs. And now he's up against it. But I want to go back real quick. It's the same question, Rebecca, but it's a different answer. No Gyökeres, no Odegaard, no Gabriel. No problem. Mm-hmm. And this is where I keep going back to for Arsenal. For the first time in a long time, they've got depth in every right spot. They've got a belief within the group that, yeah, they don't have Gyökeres and they don't have Odegaard and they don't have Gabriel, and it's not really going to be a problem. Theo, they don't look uncomfortable.
They don't, but do you know what's... going back to Tottenham briefly, and I'll come to your point there actually because it's a very valid one. They've been very good away from home this year. Yeah. So why would you go against something completely different? I know it's Arsenal, yes, but it just shows to me they're not... They're probably Arsenal 2 years ago, 2-3 years ago. I'm not saying that performance itself. I feel like he's trying to build like Arsenal were, and I think it's going to maybe actually Arsenal 5 years ago, maybe actually. But
I was going to say 2 years ago.
Yeah,
no,
2 years ago. I'm probably
maybe.
thinking more. Sorry, I'm probably thinking more Chelsea more right now. But we'll come on to Chelsea later. But yeah, no. To your Arsenal point, what was great was when you have Mourinho there to allow the space and freedom from the out to in runs from the wingers, because at times the 3 centre-halves had no one to mark, and yes, Gyökeres occupies them, but they felt like, oh well, we'll maybe come into Mourinho here a little bit more. But that's where they're smart. Bukayo Saka at times didn't just stay on the flanks for a change.
No.
Trossard, again, didn't stay on the flank for a change. He made those runs, which his goal came from it. From the centre-halves at Tottenham switching off, not having anyone to mark, and as soon as you switch off against Arsenal, you're in trouble, and they pick up the intensity. That was the thing. They could just pick it up, and Eze's that man. I mean, Rebecca, I love him. I love him.
I know you do, and so you should, and I still love him, and I loved his interview when he said about how he prayed for a hat-trick, and he got a hat-trick, and he is the first ever Premier League player to score a hat-trick in this fixture, first Arsenal player since 1978 to score a hat-trick in the North London derby. I mean, talk about writing your name into lights, into the history books. He also kind of needed, I felt, I don't know about you, Theo, he sort of, not that he hadn't been doing well, but he sort of needed his moment. Now he's had his moment. And now I'm not sure how you leave him out the team. And Martin Odegaard's maybe looking on thinking, how do I get back in here?
Yeah, well, he's had patches, isn't he, Eze? He had patches of brilliance. And you thought, I need a little bit more. You're playing slightly with a handbrake off, maybe. But yeah, I think as well, what's really nice to see is actually when you have a bench celebrating that much as well.
Yes.
They're all on the same page. They are. However, deep down, Odegaard will be thinking,
oh, no, he did extra rehab.
Really?
Theo, he did extra rehab after that game. He did. You know what I'm saying, though?
Absolutely.
Very quickly, I don't care who you are. I don't care who you are. By the way, Lionel Messi last year, after he got injured in Copa America, there was a player playing for Miami that banged in 2 free kicks. He went into the trainer at 5:45 in the morning and said, I am not waiting 10 days. You're getting me back in 4. I don't care who you are. It could be Messi, Odegaard, doesn't matter. That's the competitive spirit. However, collectively, that's going to drive Arsenal to win it this year.
Sometimes as well, when you've probably been in a situation, because I definitely have been, you become a better player when you're injured sometimes, when you're losing games. But this moment in time, you're becoming a worse player, and you can't forget how good Odegaard is. And that's the mad truth. But we'll see a side of Odegaard we've not seen. I think he's needed this kick up the backside.
Which is
I'll be
great.
brutally honest, which is brilliant. And I think it'd be brilliant for him, because it's happened to Trossard. All of a sudden, Trossard's just someone different now. So I think he'll do him well. Everyone's getting pushed right now for Arsenal. They're in a good place.
I think he'll need some rehab on his neck after Gabriel was like grabbing him and like doing that with the celebration. Flipping heck, he was like, "All right, mate." No, that was an incredible performance by Arsenal. We've touched there on Tottenham. Fingers crossed, Thomas Frank can find his way. The weird thing with Tottenham is that they've gone from they've got, like, remember the days not so long ago where they were so open and conceding so many goals and scoring so many goals, and now they're going and playing 5 at Arsenal when, like you say, they had the best away record in English football. So hopefully Thomas Frank can find his way, because the narrative straight away goes to the fact that the job's too big for him, and I just hope. History tells us that coming up through smaller clubs doesn't often go well when you then take a big six. There was an article at the weekend talking a lot about those kind of managers that manage their way up. They very rarely, like a Graham Potter, for example, they make that final step. And Brendan Rodgers, you could argue, with Liverpool, it doesn't often end well. So I'm really hoping that he bucks that trend. And he did come out afterwards and he apologised for a lack of fight. He talked a lot about duels and not winning the duels, and that's almost unforgivable, isn't it? You touched on Chelsea. I want to go to Chelsea because they're second in the league, and next weekend it is Chelsea-Arsenal, isn't it? I think it's at the Bridge next weekend.
Yes.
Chelsea beat Burnley 2-0, very straightforward. Pedro Neto, Enzo Fernandez, they went into second place, and because Manchester City dropped points, they stayed in second place. Taylor, are they under the radar title contenders, or are they really? Because they were there last season, they fell away.
Yeah, but the Club World Cup, you got to remember, was in our backyard, Rebecca. We saw them really have a strong, obviously winning the tournament, but more so there was an identity building within that tournament that I think once they got through an abbreviated, for lack of a better way, training camp to get into the Premier League, as long as they survived a little bit and played themselves into match fitness. They've also done this. You guys tell me, I don't know how many games. Cole Palmer's been injured for how many of these games?
Most of the season.
And he's won 5 of their, and they've won 5 of their last 6. So again, we talk about Odegaard with Arsenal and him coming back. Cole Palmer's going to have the same thing, and I think it's positive. There's an identity there with Chelsea that they can grind out results. They're gritty. I do. I think they're under the radar. I mean, I'm speaking for myself. We didn't speak a lot about Chelsea. We spoke a lot about Liverpool. We spoke a lot about Arsenal.
Yep, City.
I may have brought up Man City, right, in that essence, but we really didn't dive into the fact that Chelsea won the FIFA Club World Cup. Yes, it's a tournament where some of the best clubs in the world didn't qualify. It's besides the point. Those guys in the locker room, those guys in the dressing room, they don't care. They know they won it. That builds confidence within the group. And even more so, I'm going to go back to my point. You've won 5 of your last 6 without Cole Palmer, who's the darling right now of English football in a certain essence. That only builds confidence. I think they're under the radar. I do.
Cole Palmer's missed his last 7 Premier League games. He's missed 12 in all competitions. So the majority of the season. Theo?
I think as well, though, you do get that inconsistency with the young players. It's a young squad, isn't it? However, I don't think they know their ceiling yet. I'm not quite sure where they will go. And that's a worry for the league. It's a worry for Arsenal because it could go 2 ways. But for me, like you said, Taylor, that experience to winning something, they've already had that. And you know what young players, like young babies, are like. They're sponges, aren't their brains? Like for them, they're going to want more and more of this. And they are going under the radar. They generally are. And he's got something developing there, and I will be definitely aware of him because there's still plenty of games, there's plenty of opportunities, and I just think the inconsistency of young players, they might not have it, they might not show it this year. So, and that's my point with the two they're maybe Arsenal 2 years ago. I feel like they're on a similar pathway. I don't know how you see it, but to the way Arsenal were, so which is great for the league, but dangerous this year, I feel.
It's such a good point, Theo, because sometimes we downplay inexperience. And I've always been a believer, well, they're inexperienced because they haven't had the experience. And what does it matter? And you don't, through trials and tribulations, you don't know your ceiling until you hit the ceiling. And if it's a win, it's even better. And then there's an extra, now all of a sudden you raise the bar a little bit more. Rebecca, I didn't think of it. Theo, that is a really interesting point because they've won it while this Arsenal group, as good as they look, they're still answering questions about what? Well, you finished second. Can you get over the line? Can you not? They're just young and just living the dream at Chelsea. Yeah. That's kind of scary.
Yeah, they just play fearlessly, don't they? That's what's really good to watch as well. Really good to watch. Within a clutch of weeks, Liverpool have dropped down the It's Called Soccer running order quite significantly. Whoa. They lost at home to Nottingham Forest by 3-0, the joint heaviest defeat at home in Premier League history for Liverpool. 6 defeats in 7, as the kids would say. They keep going behind and losing. They can't get a grip of a game. If they go behind, it's basically curtains for them. Wayne Rooney's come out and talked about dropping Mo Salah. I'm not sure that that's the only thing. I mean, that's just like one thing that Arne Slot needs to do. Theo, what on earth is going on?
Well, I've never won the league and they've won the league, so they should kind of know what's going on right now. But I do feel the basic element, there's a lot of changes constantly. Slot, I feel, your reflection, I always think a team is a reflection of the manager, and I don't think he's sure what to do at times. So can you imagine what the players are like right now? I generally feel he's going to have to change something completely different and play to players' strengths. We talk about playing to Haaland's strengths. They're at no point they're playing to Isak's strengths. And I know I'm not giving him... He had a pre-season, had no pre-season. That's his fault. That's his fault. Simple as that. However, you look at his Newcastle career, who he had on the right, Murphy, who would just put it into space and he would attack it. They have people like Salah and Gakpo who essentially are playing individual right now. They're just playing on their own. They're not playing a team. So that's what I need to do is go back to basics and play the players' strengths. I don't know what's going on in Liverpool right now.
Just a quick question on the Isak thing. You said it's his fault. Do you think that some responsibility lies as well with Liverpool? So back in the summer, everybody could see that Isak wasn't really training. He was, effectively on strike. But Liverpool, he knew that Liverpool were going to keep coming in for him. Do you think Liverpool as a club and Arne Slot should have pushed to make sure he has the message that we're going to come and get you, mate? Like, don't worry, we're going to come and get you. But you need to be fit. So you got to stop this being on strike thing. You got to train with Newcastle, be a good professional so that when you arrive, you're good to go. Because we are now nearly in December and he hasn't scored in the Premier League and he's barely played. And when he does play, he just looks lost. Do you think the club, when a situation like this arises with a player that goes on strike, do you think the buying club need to get the message to him that this isn't okay this is not okay for Newcastle and this actually isn't okay for Liverpool either?
No, I totally agree with you, Rebecca. I really do. And as well, I don't think he ever had this pressure element at Newcastle. Yes, Newcastle's a massive club. But you look at someone like Ekitike, who is probably the only signing who's actually got a bit of credit. He's not been pushed, Isak, I don't think, ever. And all of a sudden now he's been asked questions. You're coming into a title-winning team to be able to expect perfection straight away, and you can't access that because you can't even be professional in a sense. And you're right, Liverpool have made an error. Ultimately, they really have, sadly. They really do. And I love Liverpool as a football club, but in this moment in time, they need to be careful and look after someone like Ekitike, more importantly, because he's not playing. And I think he's more important than Isak in this moment in time for them to build on their strengths. I personally don't know how you see it, Taylor, right now, but Taylor? Isak, for me, does look lost. He does.
He looks lost. Listen, Rebecca asked a great question, Theo. Here's my rebuttal, Rebecca. That's on Isak, not Liverpool.
Okay.
And you're asking the wrong guy. So for anyone listening to this, I was always able to listen. I played number 9, goal scorer, whatever. I knew I was the face of the team, all of this stuff. But I knew I was already singled out as a goal scorer and as someone that the moment you go on strike, the moment you make this a public affair, you put an extra 20 to 25% more pressure on yourself to deliver. And why do I say that? I think Isak could have easily done the business that he needed to in the transfer window without making it public. And if he did so, I then think he's integrated within Liverpool a little bit easier, for lack of a better way. His first league starts have all ended in defeat. Rebecca, you guys said this on NBC this weekend. It's first time for a Liverpool player since 1906. Okay? So now he's got all this pressure on him. But I'd argue you did it to yourself in a way of trying to get to Liverpool by going on strike, not being fit, and Ekitike, in my opinion, right now, way better option for them. He's in form. He's playing that. He made the move to Liverpool. He didn't single himself out. He didn't go on strike. I'm just saying Isak is sleeping in the bed that he made. And that's just, now he's got to get himself out of it. And I think Liverpool, the way they're going to have to with Wirtz when he's back from injury, they're just going to have to do this. But some of that, Rebecca, I think it's a great question. I just think that's on the player because he kind of did it to himself.
Yeah. Okay. No, fair enough. Fair point. Liverpool in 11th right now. I mean, it is really tight. I think they're only 3 points off for
11th?
Champions League. I know, but I think they're only 3 points off a Champions League place. This Premier League is very bizarre. It's very weird. It's like the Kentucky Derby when it's on TV where they have that graphic and all the horses are like moving positions and like that's what
I would have lost my trifecta though with Liverpool 11th.
100%. And I don't think for a second that our friend Tom Werner or John Henry are thinking of getting rid of Arne Slot. The problem I think comes because he's so close to Champions League spots. The problem I think comes is when you sort of hit that Christmas New Year period. If the gap between Liverpool and the Champions League spots is so big that they feel like they need to change because they have to be, they have to be Champions League, Europa League. Go on quickly, Theo.
No, do you think they'll change him?
If they are 10 points away from a Champions League spot, they might do. They're not really that kind of club. I wouldn't be surprised if they didn't, but I also can't see how he can finish 10th and stay.
The fact that Arne Slot has signed his players, they're going to make a sacrifice and get rid of him by spending this amount of money. And then it's like Man United. You spend all this money with these players. This manager wants these players.
I don't know if Arne Slot has signed these players. I feel like it's always that recruitment board at Liverpool that signed the players. It's Richard Hughes as much as it's Arne Slot. I don't know. I don't for one second. I do not think they should. I do not think they will. But we've seen it happen. We've seen it happen.
The pressure mounts.
And the title's gone. The title's gone. So it's just now, can he get them into Europe? And that is the big question. That's where the pressure is going to be.
Get Klopp back.
Or somebody says Steven Gerrard on an interim manager, which would be like, I know. A lot of people will say no, but I know. But it just isn't it like just for like a 3-month emotional boost. You never know. It's another fascinating weekend in the Premier League and another one to come with Chelsea against Arsenal next weekend. And then we'll see, I think Liverpool go to West Ham. So we will talk more about that, of course, next time. But I just want to make the jump to Major League Soccer. But as I do that, Wilfried Nancy is in the news today, Columbus Crew head coach. And he's not going to the Premier League, but he's, it seems, going to the Scottish Premier League. It looks like he's going to Celtic, Taylor. What do you make of that?
One, good on him. I have a lot of respect for managers around the world that work on their craft. And he is someone that started at the university level in Canada, came over. He was part of Thierry Henry's group with the Montreal franchise in Major League Soccer. COVID happened. He's a brilliant mind, someone that I've admired from afar and had the luxury of getting to know him. Celtics got themselves a real manager in the essence of he's very progressive. But the best compliment I can give Wilfried Nancy is this. In Major League Soccer, when you've got to build your rosters in a salary cap type of structure, the best managers are the ones that coach each player up 5, 7, 10%. You don't have the luxury of having 20 full internationals within your roster the way you do in England and Germany and these other leagues. And so Wilfried Nancy has coached Max Arfston, a kid that came out of college, a kid that San Jose didn't want, is an academy player that moved to Columbus that now is on the verge of playing into the World Cup. That is an example of what he's done. Celtic fans are Celtic fans, and I've seen some of the stuff on the boards, but Rebecca, he is going to make them much more attractive to watch. And he's got goals. He's got personal goals, and I think this will be another step into him doing some bigger and better things.
But Taylor's got to win the league, though, right?
Yes, absolutely. In order to survive that. Actually, let me rephrase that. In order to move on to somewhere bigger, better, greater, I couldn't agree with you more, Theo. He's got to win the league.
But at least he doesn't have the playoff structure that he got so stressed out about over here in the US when Columbus Crew were knocked out of the playoffs. He wasn't having the fact that they'd scored more goals and therefore had won on aggregate, but were still being knocked out.
The same playoff structure that he won MLS Cup in 2023. I was like, I don't like excuses.
No, but I sort of feel like maybe he was kind of like, I'm kind of done now. For a while, certainly here, I want a new chapter. So it looks
Theo,
like
he's also a 7
Celtic.
handicap, by the way, Rebecca. He's kind of fallen in love with golf, and that's how he and I connected. So good on him.
Okay.
Is he 6, 7, 6?
Oh no, guys, we've got to stop with the 6-7 because everyone listening is like, stop.
He's not like Theo, who's a 4-1.
Oh no, my kid tells me it's
4-1.
now 21 is the next one. I mean, God.
Oh,
Okay,
better than that.
let's stay with Major League Soccer and the playoff semi-finals. Round up, Taylor over the weekend. Inter Miami beat Cincinnati by 4-0. It was the Messi show. No Luis Suárez dropped from the starting lineup. Vancouver beat LA. New York City beat Philly, and at time of record, San Diego, Minnesota is yet to play. Your standout weekend result performance was what?
You've got to have real belief in who you are as a person, as a manager, Javier Mascherano, to sit Luis Suárez. Remember, us three were on this exact same podcast, and I said it was the best game I've ever seen Inter Miami play with Lionel Messi there in the past 2 seasons. And you asked me, Rebecca, should he play Luis Suárez? And I said no, but you've also got 12 days to think about this, and you've got to somehow find a way to do it. When I found out the night before that he was not going to play Luis Suárez, I just had a sneaky suspicion this is trouble for Cincinnati, because that means what? Lionel Messi's bought into what they look like. The last 25 goals Miami has scored, he has contributed to 22 of them, Theo. 22 of the last 25 goals. They've never had a clean sheet in the playoffs. They've had 2 back-to-back. This is a juggernaut. This is exactly what David Beckham, Jorge Mas and his brother and their family, they wanted from Messi. They needed to make a big decision. The suspension of Suarez gave it to him. Good luck trying to stop this Inter Miami team, Rebecca. I think it's going to be very difficult. Now, the better showcase, the better game was Thomas Müller versus Sun, LAFC, Vancouver.
Amazing.
That was something I've never seen before. 54,000 people in Vancouver. 3 posts hit by LAFC in extra time. They lose on penalties. Thomas Müller doesn't take a penalty because he's cramping. He's got a hamstring. The playoffs are rocking and rolling, and we got ourselves 2 really good games coming up this weekend.
So this weekend, it's NYCFC against Inter Miami, and whoever wins between San Diego and Minnesota against Vancouver.
Yes, and Theo, San Diego against Vancouver will be a stylistic. It will be Arsenal versus Chelsea. Both managers love the ball. Both teams possess high lines. That could be a 4-3 scoreline.
I feel like we're heading towards a San Diego into Miami.
Would it be unbelievable? An expansion season in MLS Cup. It would be awesome.
Amazing. Okay, there's something else I want to talk to you about, Taylor, because this was big news while we were away, and that was the vote to change MLS to align with the season of Europe, with basically everywhere else in the world. So not after the World Cup, but in 2027, August 2027, they're going to change to August to May, like everyone else. I think I can't see an argument against it. The one thing that frustrates the hell out of me is why they're not doing it after the World Cup. You finished the World Cup final July 19th. Everyone's on a high. It's been incredible because we all know it's going to be incredible. Football's in the air in America. Oh, guess what? Season ticket at my local MLS club is on sale. It's starting in 4 weeks. Let's go. But no, they're waiting another year. Why?
It's a great question, and Theo can chime in after I speak about this. First off, it's a great change. It is a massive change. In order for this league to grow, the biggest games in our country, it's just fact. You don't want to go up against the NFL or college football. It dominates. The NBA's avoided it. The PGA Tour with Tiger Woods, without Tiger Woods, has avoided it. The NHL, every other league's like, we got to get out of playing the biggest games in December and January. And it's a great move. More importantly, selling players, buying players. Now you're in line with Western Europe, which is where the money is being spent. You're going to make about 22% more on exports. And when you import, you're going to be paying a little bit less because you're not buying and convincing these players to come over in January when they're in the middle of their season. But I will say this, Rebecca, It's perfect for right after the World Cup. And I think if you asked some of the owners, they would agree with you. But Major League Soccer started in 1996. They desperately wanted to start in 95, right after the 1994 World Cup. But they didn't feel like they had their ducks in a row. I think the answer to your question is they want to make sure they've got everything right for
ducks?
I would say the winter climates in Toronto, Montreal, Minnesota.
But
Do
that's
their
not
training
changing.
facility?
We
Are
know
there
it's gonna be-
No, I agree with you. I think the infrastructure and how they grow things, the academies, I think it's just,
Right.
I'm not disagreeing with you.
Yeah.
Absolutely. They should be doing it after the World Cup. But at least they're doing it because we've all been part of this league. And Theo, you've heard it over in England. Even Dean Smith here in Charlotte said, oh my goodness, this move will resonate in England, Germany, France, Italy, and Spain because now it's in unison with those leagues around the world.
Do you know what you could do as well? I feel you're going to attract some players a bit more often now from England, from other European countries, because they're like, oh, let's stay on the same track here. You will 100% attract more eyes, like we've been talking about constantly, because you're in the same path now. I'll be more, intrigued to see that develop a lot more. I think more players will be more interested in going out there as well. Absolutely.
I mean, think about this.
But you're right. It should be after World Cup. It should be.
It should be after the World Cup. But Rebecca, I'll end it with this. The Champions League final in the United States is at 2 p.m. Eastern time. Imagine at 9 o'clock Eastern time, MLS Cup. You're just getting the same eyeballs. You're getting people in line with your league. Where at that point, that was the beginning of our season. It's just a great change for the league, and it's one that's necessary.
It is, and I think as well, certainly just speaking from people who live in England, Theo, you're never quite sure where you are in the season when it's a different month, and you're like, does this game matter or not? If you know it's the same season, then you know whatever month you're in,
really
you know how
point.
important that game is, so you're more interested to watch the game. And also people, I know they love football during the summer because there's like no other football, but actually people just love football. And if you're watching Premier League all weekend and there's an MLS game at 9 p.m. You're on a Saturday night, you're
not playing during the international break, Rebecca. That's been a real struggle. Look at the playoffs. You've had to take 2 weeks off because it's an international break. Now it just aligns easier.
I can't wait. I absolutely can't wait. Like you say, Theo, they're going to attract players as well, which aren't, aging stars. They're maybe going to be a bit younger, and that is the way forward for this country. Okay, guys, player of the week time. Did we agree 45 seconds? I think you each get for this. So who in Major League Soccer or the Premier League has been your player of the week? Theo, we are starting with you. By the way, it's 1-1. I get to decide, and it's 1-1. Okay, and 3, 2, 1, go.
Do you know, I'm going to stop you guys right now. I'm going to waste time with this because I don't even need 45 seconds to explain my player of the week. I don't. It's Eze. I actually don't need that much time to be an Arsenal player who announced himself in this game, who was due to be at Tottenham for some mad reason, to be honest. Being a player that, in 50 years ago, obviously, was the last hat-trick scored in this competition, this game. I don't need 45 seconds. He scored a hat-trick against Tottenham. The fixture which sits with me every year, and every single Arsenal fan. So for me, he has to be player of the week. I don't see how it could be anyone else. I don't know what else to say.
It's okay. You did 45 seconds, Theo. It's okay. You can stop. It's okay. Well played. Eberechi Eze with his hat-trick in the North London derby. I didn't think you were going to go anywhere else. Taylor Twellman, can you up Eberechi Eze? Go.
So Eze is your favorite player from Crystal Palace, and now Theo decides to choose that. So you want me to pontificate for 35 more seconds about someone in Major League Soccer that is somehow going to convince Rebecca Lowe that he's not the player of the week. I could tell you Lionel Messi has had 22 of the last 25 goal contributions. I could tell you Sebastian Berhalter, who's dealt with the nepotism tag. He scores his first goal in the international break for the United States. He's the best player on the field for Vancouver. They won the game down 2 men for 21 minutes, and he's the general in the midfield. And yet I just wasted 35 seconds because we know Eze is the player of the week.
Okay, you're right. He is. I mean, it's the North London derby, and he's a Palace legend, and he's becoming an Arsenal one too,
Yes!
just like Ian Bloomin' Okay, you win 2-1, Theo. 2-1. Picks of the week time, boys. The table is terrible. Theo's 59 points. Taylor's 47 points. I'm on 24 points. So we're going to talk about, I want your prediction, just the scoreline, please, for the conference final between NYCFC and Inter Miami this coming Saturday, 29th of November at 6 p.m. Eastern. Taylor, give us a scoreline. Oh, it's a one-off game. Let's go.
It's a one-off game. I'll be calling the game on Apple TV. So for those of you listening, please join us. It will be a special day. Miami wins this game. Miami wins, and I'll give you 3-0.
Theo?
Yeah, I'm also going Miami. Clean sheet. Clean sheet's a good shout. 2-0 I'm going to go for.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think they get a goal. I think NYCFC get a goal. I'm going 3-1 to Inter Miami. Okay, so we're all going for Messi. Crystal Palace, Manchester United. Theo, it's at 7 a.m. Eastern on Sunday. It's a funny kickoff time, so everyone's got to get up super early, even earlier on the West Coast, because that's 4 a.m. Score and goal scorer, Crystal Palace, Manchester United. Quite a difficult one to call. Go.
Yeah.
Crystal Palace win this.
Really? It's just so normal now.
Sunday, 12 o'clock in the UK, sorry.
Yeah.
Man United travelling all the way down.
To the beautiful SE25, yeah.
I love how you act like, how far is that travel, Theo? Like,
it's not that far, but I'm telling you, some players will sulk about it. Oh, that's a tricky one. Palace.
City flew to Newcastle last weekend. I was dying laughing. What are we doing?
I know.
I'll go 1-0 Palace.
Score him?
Oh, score him. Mateta.
Oh, he apparently wants to leave. We're not going to pay him enough money, which is a bit of a problemo.
Which is why he'll
So
score.
he'll score. Yeah, exactly.
And then he'll be like, show me the
It's why
money.
he'll score. I'm not. Listen, that kick. You guys know this better than me, but from watching this league now for almost 10 years, as close as I can, it feels like that kickoff is the most unpredictable kickoff, and the game becomes a little sluggish. No. Like when you,
absolutely
right.
Especially on a
So
Sunday,
I like a lower scoreline. I like exactly what Theo did. I'll take the score because I don't want to lose points in the standings.
So 1-0. So 1-0 to Taylor, and who scores? Say one, Mateta.
Yeah. I'm not messing around with this. I'm not risking this season-long competition on this stupid game at noon.
Okay, I'm going for 2-1.
It is
2-1 Crystal Palace. No, 2-1 Crystal Palace. Sarr, because he's one, as I say, one of the most underrated players in the Premier League.
It's a good shout.
Thanks. Chelsea Arsenal, 11:30 a.m. Eastern on Sunday morning. Score, Taylor, and goal.
See, this is the proper kickoff, proper everything. This is going to be a good game.
Yeah.
Right away, I want to say 1-1, but I'm going 2-2. I'm going to take a draw.
Okay. Can you give us a goal scorer?
Yeah, I'll tell you Saka.
Okay. There. Chelsea Arsenal.
This is really hard to call. Really, really difficult to call. Chelsea, I love playing out from the back. Arsenal got such a great press. 2-1.
Arsenal.
Chelsea.
2-1 to Chelsea?
Yeah.
Whoa, that's going to put the cat amongst the pigeons massively. Okay. Crikey. And who's scoring?
2-1. I'm going to go for
Caicedo.
James. Reece James.
Okay, taken off at half time, apparently pre-planned against Burnley. That was interesting. I think Arsenal are going to win this. I think this is going to be another statement. I think they're going to win 2-0, and I'm going to go with Declan Rice. So I say this is a pivotal weekend for Arsenal. Right, on this subject, chaps, of Chelsea-Arsenal, I thought this was going to be interesting. Let's do a combined 11, right? But I'm going to give you options.
Oh, shit. This took like 13 minutes last time. How do we
I'll
do
be
this?
better.
No, we've changed that was mainly Theo's fault. We're going to change the rules, right? So it's one or the other. I'm going to give you the choices, and I'm going to alternate between you. And if you really disagree with your pal, speak up. But if you don't. Otherwise, we'll still be
that's
here
fine.
Okay.
That's cool.
Next year.
Yep.
So we'll start, Taylor, with you.
Yeah.
David Raya, Robert Sanchez.
Raya.
Theo, Timber or James?
Timber.
I wrote that down before you even answered. William Saliba or Wesley
exactly.
Fofana, Taylor? Fofana or Saliba? I know. Is this going to be an Arsenal 1 to 11? Saliba or Fofana? Really? You're thinking about that?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah?
I'll take Saliba.
Okay. Yeah.
I think
you?
Fofana's
Well, no one's ever
understated.
seen enough of him. Well, I'm sure he's brilliant, but we just haven't seen him, have we? For about
Fair.
4 years, bless him. Gabriel or Tosin Adarabioyo? Theo?
Gabriel's injured though.
Yeah, but if we're hoping that he's fit,
That's
Okay,
not
Gabriel.
Yes.
Okay.
Sorry, Gabriel.
Just answer it.
I was just trying to be smart there.
Calafiori or Cucurella?
I like
think that's
Cucurella.
that difficult. Do you?
Yeah,
I do.
yeah. No, I'm agreeing with Taylor.
Okay, that
Yeah.
was a surprise. Okay, Taylor. No, Theo.
I'm with
Rice
you.
or Enzo? Rice or Enzo? Theo.
Right.
Taylor. Zubimendi or Caicedo? This is difficult. Zubimendi or Caicedo?
For me, it's not. I like Caicedo.
Caicedo. Okay. Odegaard or Cole Palmer? Theo. Odegaard or
Eze.
Cole Palmer? No.
Eze.
No, we haven't got there yet. Would you just give me a second and play to the rules? Honestly, you are not a rule follower.
Yeah, but-
I thought you were.
Rebecca, seriously.
Yeah, but this is in the 10, yeah?
Yeah. But can you just wait?
So
I'm
Eze.
gonna put. No. Would you just answer the question, and I'll get to you on Eze in a second. Oh, God.
Okay.
Odegaard or Cole
Cole Palmer.
Palmer? Thank you. Right. My goodness. Honestly, I thought you were like a. Anyway, Saka or Garnacho? Taylor.
Oh, miss me this Saka.
I know. Gyökeres or João Pedro? Theo.
Do you know what? Because we have Cole Palmer and we're going to have Eze in it, you can't play him because there's going to be too many players there. So I'll go
Gyökeres.
for Gyökeres.
Okay.
Yes.
And last one, Eze or Pedro Neto?
Eze.
Okay, so really, guys, when you look at that, it's Raya, Timber, Saliba, Gabriel, and Cucurella. This is a good team. Rice, Caicedo, Palmer, flipping heck. Saka, Gyökeres, and Eze. That is unbelievable. That's winning the league. So that's Cucurella, that's Caicedo, and that's Palmer. That's the only three there from Chelsea. Guys, we're going to finish out with I like this question, right? Rounding it back to Thanksgiving. Okay, question of the week comes from Thomas in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Thanksgiving week, he says, I want to know, out of your former teammates, Taylor, you go first. Out of your former teammates and managers, who is cooking Thanksgiving dinner for you? Who is carving the turkey? I don't know, does that mean you have to be like macho or something to carve the turkey? And
No, you don't.
And who is not turning up at Thanksgiving?
First off, Thomas from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Great question, by the way.
Good question. Yeah.
Theo will appreciate this. Who's cooking it? It's going to be Clint Dempsey from Fulham or Steve Ralston, my former teammate, former roommate with the U.S. men's national team. Why? Real quickly, they know how to fry a turkey.
Oh,
and
from
when you
Texas.
fry the turkey, yes,
Deep
100%.
fry? We're deep frying a turkey?
Yep. Real good. It's
I've
got just the
tried
right
that.
spices. The whole thing's off the hook.
All right. Okay. Who is
Carving the
who's
turkey
carving it?
carving the turkey can mean one of two things. You can be rolling up your sleeves and just you're a man making it just whatever and it's all over the place. If you did that, I would leave Thanksgiving because then I just realized you manhandled my food. So I wouldn't want that. I like my carving to be very particular, clean, right? So that would be a captain that I played with. That would be someone like you know who would be a great carver of the turkey? Friend of the show, Jesse Marsh. Great carver
I
of the
think that's
turkey.
True. Yeah. Okay.
Be very good.
Right.
Who's not turning up? Probably me, because I'd have a better party to go to.
Brilliant. All right.
Very
Dempsey, Marsh, and Twelman. Okay.
Dempsey,
Theo.
Marsh, and Twelman, absolutely.
It's good. Who is cooking for Theo Walcott? Who would you pick out of your former teammates or managers?
I hand you a turkey, and you know this guy or girl, like this person's going to cook the best.
I reckon
You?
Big Sam will cook it very well.
Oh,
I think Big Sam's got carving in the flipping
I
locker.
think
Big Sam has got but can he carve as well? I did think that. I did question Big Sam, but I went for someone else. but-
Big Sam
I have a
to cook
sneaky
it. I ain't
suspicion
trusting
if Big Sam carved my turkey, I would immediately leave.
So
What?
I'm going to go for.
I'm not sure Big Sam's using a knife either.
I don't think so either. That's why I'm out of here. I think he's licking
That's a
his
really
lips
cool
while he's carving
question.
the turkey, Rebecca.
Yeah, the
Right,
reason why
so
I didn't have him
Sam-
carving it, because yes, you know when you carve, you eat a bit, right?
Yeah.
I would carve it. I would be the carver. That'll be me.
Oh, okay.
Because I would
Yeah,
want to eat it. Yeah, because I want to eat some.
I could come
But
to that.
yeah, you always get the best bits, and no one knows about it.
But I
right?
feel like the way you cut it would be the proper way.
So hang on, Big Sam is cooking your turkey. You are carving
Yes.
your way through the turkey defence. I like it. And then who is
Yes.
just not turning up from all the players or managers? Like who is like flaky? Who's Flake City? Who's not coming? Says they're coming then doesn't.
Probably go for Emmanuel Adebayor.
Really, just flaky.
turns
Just
up.
saying, yeah, I'll be there, and just doesn't turn up. Brilliant.
I don't think he turns
Also,
up. Because I
thanks-
feel like because he's got somewhere better to be as well.
Yeah, well,
to be honest.
hey,
I'm not being
what
funny.
position did he
Thanks.
play?
Yeah, exactly. Thanksgiving
do.
with Taylor. Thanksgiving with Theo Walcott, Sam Allardyce, and Emmanuel Adebayor. That is quite some Thanksgiving table. Bloomin' egg, I ain't turning up either. Gentlemen, happy Thanksgiving. This has been absolutely lovely.
You too.
That's it for this episode of It's Called Soccer. We are back on Friday, everybody, with a special guest. So make sure that you've got your you're subscribed to the show and you've got your notifications turned on. I've been told to say that so you can see who our special guest is. This coming Friday. We'll be back next week, guys. Happy Turkey Day. Lovely to see you. We'll see you next week.